this podcast episode, I'm just going to speak from my heart because something really marvelous happened, and this is a very significant day for me. I just wrote a song called My Soul's Shoes. My Soul's Shoes. And I already recorded it. And what happened is I've come to my place in the world. I just fell into it, and I mean, it's a 15-year journey. I have started, and I ended up where I started actually. I started one guitar, one voice, writing little folk songs actually. I've never sang other people's songs. I was just writing my own. The way that came to me is, music came to me. I didn't choose music. I was into sports. I was very competitive. I was playing tennis semi-competitively, let's say. I had no space for anything else in my life but school and tennis. And in school we had an assignment to write a poem. I remember that vividly. And I wrote a poem, something about a teacup. I wrote something about the tea being hot in it and the cup representing love, to hold the love, something like this. But I don't remember the poem. I don't have it anymore. But I wrote it, and I remember people in class didn't believe me that I wrote it. And then when I hung it in my room, my dad, he doesn't remember it. But he came into the room one day. This was before I even wrote songs or anything, and he read the poem, and he asked me who wrote it, and I said me, and he giggled a little, and then he went outside. And I think by that, my interpretation of that at the time was that he didn't believe me that I wrote it, just like my schoolmates didn't, because they really didn't. I don't even know how old I was, maybe 13, 14. Interesting, huh? Looking back now. And I think my father giggled because he thought it was pretty sweet, probably. But for me, it was like, maybe this is good, you know? And then this weird thing started to happen to me. I had dreams where I was composing songs, and I woke up with completed songs. And that was strange to me, and I thought, okay, these songs must be out there somewhere, and it's just on the radio. And I was looking for these songs actually, and I wrote them down. I didn't know anything about music. I just wrote down the lyrics basically. Wow. Yeah. And those were like little poems. And then I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then my dad had an old guitar when he was in uni. He never learned to play, and it was in my parents' bedroom. And I went to the bedroom because the guitar was pulling me, and never before did I ever even consider music. Like, I hated music. I used to play flute in kindergarten. I hated it. My rhythm was off. At least that's what my dad told me once. I'm sure he doesn't remember that either, but I very highly valued his opinion. Yeah. So I looked at the guitar, and the strings were all off. So the guitar wasn't broken, but I couldn't play it. So what happened is, I don't know the exact course of events, but I think my mom or my grandma, they knew that I was very, very interested in the guitar, and I think my grandma fixed it. Because one day when I went to look at the guitar, it was fixed. And that already sounds super ridiculous, but and then I started playing, and how I played is, I didn't know anything, so I looked up some chords online, and then I just matched the chords towards the songs that were already in my head, because the songs were, right, the little poems that I wrote down, there were no chords, but in my head it was a full song, and my singing was horrible. But this is how I completed the songs basically. And then eventually my mom, I think, begged my dad to get me guitar lessons. He wasn't convinced, but one day he heard me play, and then he was convinced, and he took me to a guitar teacher, and he, for some odd reason, he was the coolest ever. Seriously. Because he he told me the first time that I reminded him of Bob Dylan. And at the beginning, I didn't even know who that was, but I didn't care. And then why I say that he's the best is he told me, look, don't put yourself in a box. Don't learn music theory. Don't go to uni, study music. He said, don't be in a box. That was his advice. And he taught me a couple of things. Obviously, he taught me more like fingerpicking style and chords and notes on the guitar and stuff like this. But he said, just do your thing. And I brought, every time I wrote multiple songs in a week, and I brought it to him, and he would listen to me, and we would make up little arrangements to them. He played classical guitar. I don't even know why I'm telling you this story, but I think I know why. Because today it's all come to a conclusion, because then what I did is I started to release songs on YouTube, and I felt very vulnerable because people in my school, they heard it. And that made me feel very uncomfortable. There were very many moments, which I won't bore you with them now, but it really hurt me. So then I retrieved in my little shell, and I didn't make music for a long time. Though I was still writing, because my heart still wants to write. It's just, it pours out of me, and I have to write it down. Otherwise it feels almost like a sin. Like, it's there, I have to write it down. So, and all along my journey, I always kept the song safe in a folder and in multiple boxes I have at my grandma's place, probably 12 boxes of songs. I'm not kidding. Most of them are probably like unfinished or not good. I have this folder here now, over 100 songs. I think way over 100 songs that are completed. Not saying that they are good or anything. And they are about like heartbreaks or stuff that I've went through. And I realized that along my journey, my songwriting has changed and become more pure and good, and I think it's just a matter of writing a lot and becoming purer, because what happens in life, at least from my perspective, is that you take on a form. The world shapes you into a form, and your trauma shapes you into a form, and unfortunately that's not you, that's not your soul, that's not your pure expression. But because of all that happened to you, you are a certain way. And it's moldable, and you realize it along the way that you're not authentic and you don't want to be that anymore. You want to free your little soul and you want to be you again, you as a child. So I went on this long journey, and it reflects in my art. So when I look back on my artistic journey, I wrote a lot of beautiful, pure songs when I was 15, 16, 17, right? And then the world happened to me, and a lot of shit happened to me, a lot of drama. A lot of traumatic moments, and I lost the magic. I was still writing songs, but the songs, now looking back, they didn't have that touch of ease, of simple magic in them anymore. They're not pure. They were tainted by the past, and there were songs about experiences that I had to work through, and the songs helped me to work through them. But then, once I untied a lot of things and looked at my past, I realized that holy moly, my songs become more pure and free and easily, they flow so easily. I write about, not about trauma, but about realizations. It's just the art changes as you change, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, I've come to a lot of realizations in that regard, and I wrote 3 books on God and art. The journey of the arts is the journey of the soul, in my opinion. How you lose yourself in the world and then rediscover yourself, and your art reflects that. And I healed a lot through art, and I'm still on my journey, but today it come to a conclusion because I'm back at age 15 basically, with the purity of joy, you know, writing songs and unfolding songs. I'm back. That's what it feels like I've collapsed time, which is weird. I'm 29 now, I'm gonna be 30 in December, but 15 years almost, eh? It's crazy to me. And now I am free to sing, and my skill is better now because 15 years, obviously you get better in writing, better in guitar playing, but that urge that playing like a child, singing like a child is back, and it's pure and it's real. And this journey really brought me back home to myself, which is magnificent. So I wrote a blog post called Journey to God Through Art. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to present you the song that I wrote today called My Soul's Shoes, and it's my homecoming to myself. Home to myself. Yeah, so that's why I guess I told you my story just now. A lot has happened, and I've come to a lot of realizations, and hopefully by sharing them authentically, others will also gain from it or recognize a few things for themselves too. So, journey to God through art. 1. Pain and misery. You create a lot of ugly art to get to the bottom of it all. Purge the pain. Obviously you create about pain because you don't know anything about pain at that stage. Then 2. Healing journey, in brackets self-healing. Art becomes purer and healthier with each trauma release, and each song in a way is a trauma release. And then number 3, dissolution into God, in brackets healing the world through art. Direct transmission of God through art. So when I wrote this, I was in meditation, clearly. Dissolution into God, by that I just mean that you become and reflect who you are, your soul, the depth of your soul, and it gets captured in the music. And it makes other people also connect to their hearts in that way. Art is a mirror of the artist's state of being, a wonderful learning tool. Heal yourself, then share that self with the world. Heal the rest of us. Remind me of the love that lies dormant in my little heart. What a task. Grab me and shake me beyond. Shake up my world. Poke me to sanity. And then a little quote from my book. Art is one layer away from God. But when it is done right, it is God. By that I mean that when the trauma, for a second, when real art touches you, for a second you forget yourself, you forget your trauma, and you just purely witness the art. So it takes you beyond, it takes you to the layer of God. So when art captures that and can take you beyond, that's what I call holy art, I suppose. When you marvel at a painting, and you are no more. For a moment, it's like a glimpse of complete utter silence, like a divine moment, like a portal into God, into the collective being. And through art and through healing oneself through art, that experience becomes more and more a daily experience. And then the art also becomes something that transmits something deep. And I think that's the journey of art anyway. A journey of authenticity, of coming back to one's purity, to one's soul, not living from a filter of past, but living purely in the moment as an expression of the soul, which I know sounds it's very hard to pinpoint such a experience, but maybe it's best to, that's why art is so wonderful, I think, because art, when it's done right, when it's done purely, authentically, maybe has a chance to poke you beyond. So here we go. My soul's shoes, my little heart. 'Twas a lonely road I've arrived. A door with my name, the unknown, one step to take. Goodbye tongue, Goodbye, eyes. I am blind. You are light. No more rules. No more phone. The pavement's holding me. The pavement's gone. I bridge poetry and song, my bridge to build, my weight to hold, my soul's shoes, my little heart, from death to life, colored bright, my soul shoes. Step into the night. 'Twas a lonely road.